Imagine a nation standing at the crossroads of history, making bold choices that redefine its place in the world, not out of fear or convenience, but from a deep commitment to sovereignty, dignity, and vision. Tonight, we explore why India, a rising global power, is choosing a path less traveled, teaming up with Russia while quietly stepping back from America's shadow. This is more than politics. It's a story of identity, resilience, and the pursuit of a balanced world where every voice counts. Stay with me because understanding this journey might just open your eyes to the future of global harmony. The relationship between India and Russia is deeply rooted in history, dating back to the early years of the Cold War. When India gained independence in 1947, it adopted a policy of non-alignment, choosing not to formally align with either the United States or the Soviet Union. However, over time, India and the USSR began to build a strong and strategic partnership based on mutual respect, cooperation, and shared geopolitical interests. This relationship solidified during the 1970s when the Indo-Soviet Treaty of Peace, Friendship, and Cooperation was signed, marking a turning point in bilateral ties. During this period, the Soviet Union supported India on key international issues, including its stance on Kashmir and its conflicts with Pakistan. In return, India remained a reliable partner in South Asia, refusing to criticize Soviet actions at the global stage. The relationship wasn't just political. It extended into defense, energy, space, education, and cultural exchange. The USSR became India's largest defense supplier, laying the groundwork for a military partnership that continues to this day. Even after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the bond between the two countries remained strong. Russia, as the legal successor of the USSR, maintained its commitment to India, continuing to supply weapons, nuclear technology, and diplomatic support. This long-standing partnership has created a sense of trust and familiarity that newer allies have yet to match. The legacy of this historical cooperation plays a crucial role in shaping India's current foreign policy choices. The depth of understanding and loyalty built over decades gives Russia a unique place in India's international strategy. This history forms the foundation upon which modern India-Russia relations continue to grow, making their alliance more than just a convenience. It's a continuation of a trusted friendship forged in complex global times. India's military relationship with Russia is one of the most critical aspects of their strategic partnership, built over decades of cooperation. Around 60 to 70% of India's defense equipment, ranging from fighter jets and submarines to tanks and missiles, comes from Russian or Soviet-era origin. This deep-rooted dependency is not just about numbers. It reflects years of trust, collaboration, and mutual understanding in sensitive areas of national security. From the Cold War period onward, Russia has supplied India with advanced military hardware that many Western nations were either unwilling or hesitant to provide. Iconic defense deals such as the transfer of MiG and Sukhoi aircraft, T-90 tanks, and the BrahMos missile system, a joint Indo-Russian venture, highlight how intertwined their defense cooperation has become. Russia has also been instrumental in helping India build its nuclear submarine capability, including leasing submarines for training and operational readiness. The U.S. and other Western powers have made efforts to enter India's defense market in recent years, but their influence still falls short of Russia's long-standing presence. India's familiarity with Russian equipment, along with logistical systems, training programs, and spare parts infrastructure, makes a sudden shift to Western arms suppliers impractical and costly. Moreover, Russia offers India a level of defense cooperation that goes beyond transactions. It includes technology transfer, local manufacturing, and long-term maintenance support. This has allowed India to build and sustain a relatively self-reliant military posture, especially in critical times of regional tension. India's defense strategy relies heavily on ensuring operational readiness and continuity, and that can only be maintained through reliable partnerships. Russia's consistent support, even during diplomatic strains or international pressure, makes it a defense partner India cannot easily ignore, especially in a volatile geopolitical environment. This military dependence is not just practical, it is strategic. India's growing energy needs have played a major role in strengthening its ties with Russia, particularly in the area of oil and gas. As one of the fastest growing major economies in the world, India requires a steady, affordable, and reliable energy supply to fuel its development. Russia, being one of the largest global producers of oil and natural gas, has become an increasingly important energy partner for India in recent years. This partnership became even more significant after Western sanctions were imposed on Russia following the Ukraine conflict. While many Western countries reduced or halted imports of Russian oil, India took a different approach. Instead of aligning with the sanctions, India prioritized its national interest and began purchasing discounted Russian crude oil. This decision allowed India to manage inflation, reduce import costs, and stabilize its energy supply during a time of global uncertainty. The move wasn't just economic, it was strategic. By continuing energy trade with Russia, India ensured energy security for its population, while also asserting its independent foreign policy. The energy relationship expanded further into long-term agreements, such as investments in Russian oil fields by Indian companies and commitments to increase imports of liquefied natural gas (LNG). Additionally, the cooperation extends into nuclear energy. Russia has been a key player in developing India's civilian nuclear energy sector, including the construction of reactors at the Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. This collaboration helps India diversify its energy mix and reduce its dependence on fossil fuels. In a global energy market shaped by geopolitics and shifting alliances, Russia has proven to be a reliable supplier, willing to work with India on flexible terms. This ongoing partnership strengthens India's energy resilience and positions Russia as a critical pillar in India's long-term energy strategy. India's foreign policy has long been guided by the principle of strategic autonomy, an approach rooted in its desire to remain independent in global affairs without aligning too closely with any major power bloc. This doctrine originated during the Cold War when India refused to join either the U.S.-led Western Alliance or the Soviet bloc, instead choosing a path of non-alignment. Today, that principle has evolved into a modern version of autonomy that allows India to pursue its national interests on its own terms, regardless of pressure from global powers. Strategic autonomy means India makes decisions not based on loyalty to allies, but on pragmatic assessments of what best serves its people, economy, and security. This explains why India can maintain close defense and energy ties with Russia, while simultaneously engaging with the United States through forums like the Quad and defense agreements like Comcasa. It also explains why India continues to buy Russian oil and weapons, even when Western nations urge it to take a harder stance against Moscow. This doctrine allows India to balance multiple relationships without being seen as taking sides. It ensures flexibility, preserving India's ability to act according to changing global realities. Whether it's voting in the United Nations, forming trade partnerships, or participating in military exercises, India's actions are shaped by self-interest and strategic calculation, not alliance politics. Strategic autonomy also protects India's sovereignty and decision-making. It ensures that domestic and foreign policies are not dictated by outside powers, especially on sensitive issues like Kashmir, borders, or internal security. By adhering to this principle, India signals that while it welcomes partnerships, it does not accept pressure or interference. In an increasingly polarized world, strategic autonomy provides India with the space to navigate complex geopolitics without compromising its independence or long-term national vision. India's cautious stance toward the United States is shaped by a long history of unpredictability in U.S. foreign policy. While relations between the two countries have significantly improved over the past 2 decades, India still harbors doubts about how consistent and reliable the U.S. can be as a long-term strategic partner. These concerns stem from past experiences where U.S. actions have been perceived as driven more by self-interest than by genuine commitment to partnership. During the Cold War, the United States maintained close ties with Pakistan, India's rival, providing military and economic support despite Pakistan's involvement in conflicts with India. These policies created a deep sense of mistrust, as India felt that its security concerns were often overlooked or dismissed in favor of American geopolitical goals. Even in more recent times, U.S. involvement in regions like Afghanistan and the shifting alliances in the Middle East have further highlighted the unpredictable nature of its global strategy. India also observed how the U.S. has imposed sanctions or withdrawn support from various countries when their actions no longer aligned with American interests. This raises concerns in New Delhi about the possibility of sudden policy changes or pressure tactics, especially when India pursues decisions that do not align with Washington's agenda. Examples include U.S. objections to India's continued defense and energy ties with Russia, or its neutral stance on the Ukraine conflict. Unlike Russia, which has generally maintained a consistent and non-interfering relationship with India, the U.S. is often seen as reactive and conditional in its partnerships. This difference in approach matters greatly to India, which values sovereignty, stability, and predictability in its foreign relations. As a result, India remains wary of placing too much trust in the United States, preferring instead to maintain a balanced, independent posture in global affairs. India's skepticism toward Western powers, especially the United States and Europe, is rooted in what it perceives as geopolitical double standards. While the West often champions democracy, human rights, and international law, India has observed a pattern where these values are applied selectively, depending on the country involved, the issue at stake, and whether it aligns with Western interests. This perceived hypocrisy has fueled India's resistance to Western pressure and pushed it closer to partners like Russia, who take a more non-interventionist approach. One example is how the West responded swiftly and forcefully to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, imposing sanctions and rallying global opinion against Moscow. However, similar enthusiasm is often lacking when it comes to other conflicts, such as military interventions by Western countries in the Middle East, or NATO's role in destabilizing regions like Libya and Afghanistan. India sees these inconsistencies as evidence that moral arguments are often used as tools for political convenience rather than universal principles. Another point of contention is the frequent Western criticism of India's internal policies, be it on Kashmir, religious issues, or freedom of the press, while remaining silent or complicit when allied nations commit similar or worse violations. For India, these double standards reflect a lack of respect for its sovereignty and an unwillingness to view it as an equal partner rather than a subordinate in the global order. This perceived hypocrisy contrasts sharply with Russia's consistent stance of non-interference in India's domestic matters. Russia doesn't lecture, impose conditions, or attempt to influence India's internal debates. That mutual respect strengthens the partnership and gives India more space to act independently. In a world where global trust is fragile, India prefers relationships built on equality and consistency over selective morality and shifting political narratives. India's partnership with Russia is strongly influenced by their shared vision for a multipolar world, one in which power is not concentrated in the hands of a few Western nations, but distributed across multiple centers of influence. This vision is at the heart of alliances like BRICS Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, where the goal is to challenge the dominance of Western-led institutions and create a more balanced, inclusive global order. For India, being part of BRICS means having a voice in shaping the future of global governance. It supports reforms in institutions like the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank, which are often criticized for favoring Western power. Russia is a strong ally in these efforts, consistently backing India's calls for greater representation and equity in global decision-making platforms. India and Russia also cooperate on building alternative systems that reduce dependence on Western mechanisms. This includes trade in local currencies instead of the U.S. dollar, development banks like the new Development Bank (NDB), and support for regional security arrangements that bypass NATO or other Western-led alliances. These efforts align with India's desire to remain sovereign, economically resilient, and politically independent in a changing world. The concept of a multipolar world also resonates with India's historical stance on non-alignment and strategic autonomy. Instead of choosing sides, India advocates for a balanced approach where no single country or group dominates. Russia's foreign policy aligns with this principle, offering India a space where its voice is respected and its ambitions supported. By strengthening ties with Russia and remaining active in BRICS, India is positioning itself as a key player in reshaping global power dynamics, moving toward a world where influence is shared and diverse perspectives are valued equally. India's distrust of the United States as a fully dependable partner is deeply shaped by decades of U.S. support for Pakistan, particularly during times of heightened tension and conflict between the two South Asian neighbors. From the Cold War period through the early 2000s, the United States provided Pakistan with military aid, financial assistance, and diplomatic backing, often overlooking Pakistan's role in promoting cross-border terrorism and instability in the region. During multiple India-Pakistan wars, the U.S. either maintained a neutral stance or continued arms supplies to Pakistan, even when evidence pointed to its involvement in supporting insurgent groups operating in Kashmir and other parts of India. For Indian policymakers and the public alike, this history created a strong sense of betrayal, especially considering India's consistent positioning as a democracy and a responsible global actor. After the 9/11 attacks, U.S. Pakistan ties deepened further as Pakistan became a key partner in the so-called War on Terror. Billions of dollars in military and economic aid flowed into Pakistan, even as it continued to harbor groups that India considered direct threats to its national security. High-profile attacks, such as the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, which were linked to Pakistan-based groups, further fueled Indian frustration when the U.S. response was seen as diplomatic rather than decisive. While U.S.-India relations have improved significantly in recent years, this historical baggage remains. India views U.S. alliances through a cautious lens, knowing that Washington's foreign policy is often transactional and shaped by short-term strategic interests. In contrast, Russia has never supported Pakistan against India and has consistently backed India on key security issues. This contrast reinforces India's preference for a more balanced approach and contributes to its ongoing partnership with Russia over full alignment with the United States. One of the most valued aspects of India's relationship with Russia is Moscow's consistent policy of non-interference in India's internal affairs. Unlike many Western countries, which frequently comment on India's domestic issues such as human rights, religious freedom, or regional conflicts like Kashmir, Russia has chosen a path of diplomatic restraint and mutual respect. This approach has built a foundation of trust that continues to strengthen their partnership. For India, sovereignty and internal decision-making are non-negotiable. Any external criticism, especially from powerful nations, is seen not only as intrusive, but as a challenge to its democratic and constitutional institutions. The West, particularly the United States and parts of Europe, often frames its foreign policy through ideological lenses, promoting values like liberal democracy and free speech, sometimes in a way that India perceives as selectively applied or politically motivated. In contrast, Russia's engagement with India is based on strategic interests, long-term cooperation, and respect for national boundaries, both geographic and political. Russia does not lecture India on its internal matters, nor does it attempt to influence policy decisions related to religion, civil liberties, or regional disputes. This hands-off approach has allowed India to engage with Russia without the friction that often accompanies its relations with Western nations. This policy of non-interference is not a sign of indifference, but rather a diplomatic choice rooted in realism and mutual understanding. It recognizes that every nation has its own complexities and challenges, and that lasting partnerships are built through respect, not pressure. For India, this makes Russia a more stable and predictable partner, one that it can rely on without fear of political fallout over domestic issues. In a world where foreign alliances are often conditional, Russia's respect for India's internal affairs is both rare and highly valued. India and Russia share a multifaceted economic partnership that extends far beyond their well-known defense ties. While military cooperation often takes center stage, the economic relationship encompasses energy, nuclear power, space technology, infrastructure development, and trade, creating a broad foundation for long-term collaboration. One of the most significant areas is nuclear energy. Russia has been instrumental in helping India develop its civilian nuclear power capacity, including building reactors like those at the Kudankulam nuclear power plant. This partnership not only supports India's goal to diversify its energy sources, but also strengthens its position as a global player in clean and sustainable energy. Space cooperation is another vital component. Both countries have collaborated on satellite launches, space exploration, and sharing technological expertise. This cooperation enhances India's capabilities in telecommunications, weather forecasting, and national security. Infrastructure development also plays a key role. Russian investments and technology contribute to projects ranging from railways to industrial modernization. Joint ventures and business partnerships continue to grow, reflecting a mutual desire to boost trade and economic growth. Trade between India and Russia includes a variety of goods, from pharmaceuticals and machinery to agriculture and raw materials. Though not yet at the scale of India's trade with Western countries or China, this economic exchange remains steady and important for both nations. This diversified economic cooperation demonstrates that India-Russia ties are not limited to defense or geopolitics. They are embedded in practical, mutually beneficial projects that promote growth and development. It also reflects India's broader strategy to engage multiple partners to meet its economic and technological needs while maintaining strategic autonomy. By working together across these varied sectors, India and Russia deepen their relationship and build resilience against global uncertainties, ensuring their partnership remains strong in an ever-changing world. India's partnership with Russia reflects a strategic choice grounded in history, mutual respect, and a shared vision for a balanced global order. This relationship, built on trust, energy cooperation, defense ties, and respect for sovereignty, allows India to maintain its independence while navigating complex international dynamics. By embracing strategic autonomy, India continues to prioritize its national interests above external pressures, fostering a multipolar world where diverse voices matter. Thank you all for listening and engaging with this important conversation. I wish you clarity and courage as you explore the complexities of global relationships. Good luck on your journey ahead.